happy Tuesday, everyone. As you saw, I got a fair amount done yesterday with my Christmas tree decorating, but I still have such a ways to go. It definitely took me by surprise how long this tree decorating process is taking compared to how long it normally takes, which I think feels counterintuitive. Like, you look at a tree like this and you're like, that obviously took a lot of time. But for some reason, I think maybe it's the practice, maybe it's because I've been doing that style of tree for so long. Stuffing the ribbon in the tree takes me maybe 20-30 minutes, maybe an hour for like this size of tree. I know upstairs my entire tree decorating only took me 20 minutes, which is nuts, but let's say an hour for ribbon. And then honestly, it takes me no time at all to throw ornaments on the tree because that ribbon just fills things out so nicely that it doesn't really matter where you place your ornaments. That is not the case this year. It feels like the ornament placement has to be so perfect and so strategic. And I will say that's just not my strong suit. I think I'm struggling with looking at my tree and thinking, damn, I should have put that ornament in a different place. Clearly I can move it around, but I don't want to be doing that like a million times. So that has been interesting. Because there's no ribbon in the tree, like, you can see everything so much more. That has been an interesting change. Additionally, I'm having to like sift through the ornaments that I already have to find ones that I think will complement this color scheme, right? My ornaments are very neutral, so it's not like I can't reuse things. I'm reusing almost everything, but I am not using a lot of the pure white ornaments that I typically use and things that are just too cool in tone. I'm mixing a mixture of metals in the tree. There is some silver, there's some gold, there's some bronze, and I actually think that's working well because the rest of my decor around my house does mix a lot of different metals and I don't want the tree to feel totally out of place. But again, I'm having to be strategic and like kind of sift through my ornaments, figure out what's going to look good, what's not, put things on, take things off. Initially, I was unsure if I was going to use like these fluffy ball ornaments. I was like, that might not look right. But I was realizing without any element of like a creamy color, it was going to look too dark and just not cheerful enough. Wouldn't have enough contrast on the tree. So I'm kind of having to think a little bit more before I place things in terms of the location and also just the color scheme. So it is taking me longer than normal. I have figured out though that I am really liking the bows. I think they're super cute. I am, however, waiting on one more ribbon type so that I can create these bows. I initially bought this plaid ribbon, which is like kind of the inspiration this year, and then I got this beautiful brown velvet ribbon off of Amazon. I'll link it in the description. I'm sure it's still available, and it was pretty inexpensive. I bought 2 rolls of that, and I also bought an even thinner cream velvet, and I'm realizing it just doesn't look impactful enough, so I purchased a 1.5-inch satin cream ribbon to mix with these other 2, and I think it's gonna look really beautiful. I think the shine is gonna work really well on the tree, and I think that light color in that size of ribbon I think is going to fill out this tree nicely. So that comes today, and my Amazon deliveries are normally like nighttime, so I might have to hold off until tomorrow on finishing the actual tree itself. But that doesn't mean that we can't do other Christmas decorating today. I am going to work on my garland next, which should be interesting. Garland is something that I feel like I always struggle with. I see other people with these lush, like stunning garlands on their fireplace, on their banisters, and I think the problem that I have is that, first of all, I don't really have a fireplace in my home. I think a lot of people who are not super mega wealthy also don't have fireplaces in their home. I did purchase a like faux fireplace, which I'll show you, which looks a little bit like this, and it does like work well for the holiday season. I mean, I keep it around all year because it kind of works as like a center piece, a focal point in this room, but it's just not a very large piece. So putting garland on there, like I do it, but I can't do the long trailing garland like a lot of people do. I just think it looks a little silly. And then same with the banister, right? I can do a lot with it because it is like a traditional banister, but again, I can't really trail things because also I have cats. So that is an issue. I think I ran into mostly last year was the fact that my garland just didn't feel as full as I feel like is in pictures that I see on Pinterest. And you know what? House doesn't need to be Pinterest worthy. I really feel like I need to reiterate that. You don't need to buy only things every year. You don't need to change your Christmas theme every year. But for me, I think the tact that I take is like, if I want to upgrade something or if I want to add on to what I already have, that's fine. I don't just like change my ornaments and shit every year. So anyway, on the off season, because I knew this is something I wanted to do, purchased a ton of garland. It was at a steep discount and I was able to get good prices on everything. But I went upstairs today into our guest room closet, which is where we keep a fair amount of Christmas stuff, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of garland that I purchased. Some of it is for like an outdoor project that I'm doing, but I was just like, where is all of this going? So I really need to like sort through what I have, what I've purchased, and figure out how I'm going to combine things in a way that looks really nice. I know that I have a garland that basically mimics this tree, and that's normally what I put on my staircase. I got that last year. It wasn't full enough, so I also purchased some sort of Norfolk pine-ish looking garland as well. I purchased eucalyptus to kind of like put sparse spots. And then I also have this really beautiful sort of like piney garland that looks so natural, but isn't really something I've seen other people use. It's like not what's popular. I'm like, who cares what's popular? But I'm like, how can I incorporate that into my design as well? And then I also have a separate like kind of, I don't want to say cascading garland. I'll insert a picture of what it looks like right here. I have this garland that I typically put on my mantle, and it won't combine well with other garlands. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use that this year or if I will use that where I typically do and then just use my other garlands on the staircase. I don't know. Obviously this is so unimportant and so doesn't matter, but since this is a Christmas decorating video, I figured I could get in the weeds with y'all about like what I have. So I'm gonna go and grab it and pull it all down here, and we can kind of look and see what we have and like what we're going to be combining. I'm hoping it looks lush and delicious, especially since I don't think I am going to ornament any of my garland this year. I have done it in the past. I didn't do it last year. I probably won't do it this year just because of the way that my Christmas vibe is. It's a little bit more relaxed and cozy. So I'm thinking I will probably end up putting some big ribbons, like a couple of big bows at like the swag points, I guess, of my garland. Maybe I will like double layer this with like the brown or something like that and make it feel a little bit more special. But I think I want to keep things simple. I want to keep the focus on the greenery, and maybe I'll add like an additional like twinkly string light or something in there, but no excess ornamentation. We just need to figure out again how we're going to combine things, what things are going to look like. So I'm going to go grab that garland. I'll bring it down here and we can get started. Let the record show, I'm a nut job. I mean, it's gonna look good as fuck, but I'm also just kind of like, yikes. So, all right, I know what I was thinking now that I actually have things in front of me. I bought this garland right here as sort of my double up garland. I thought this one was just so beautiful. The one that's like viral has kind of yellowy tips, and I think maybe that's trying to make it look more realistic. It's just not my personal taste. I just didn't like the way it looked. I am planning on taking the red berries off of this and combining it with this garland over here. And this is the one that looks a lot like my Christmas tree. It's from the same place. It's from Balsam Hill. That's where I got that one. It's a pre-lit battery powered garland. I really wish I had gotten the plug-in version because I will say the battery life on those is fucking terrible. Like even if you just turn them on when it gets dark outside and keep them on for a couple of hours, they do not last the whole Christmas season, which, you know, hindsight's 2020. But I'm planning on, again, combining that with this. This one's really pretty too because I feel like it has a really nice directional look. And the Balsam Hill one can be styled in a couple of different ways. You can have all of the branches kind of splayed out. You can have them going in one direction. And I think kind of interspersing that with this is going to look really nice, especially since they're similar colors. So did I need this much? Probably not. However, I'm realizing that my Balsam Hill ones are 10 feet. And these ones are 6 feet. So I think that's why I got 4 of them, because I knew that my Balsam Hill one was long. So I have 2 10-foot Balsam Hill garlands. I have 4 of these to combine. We'll see how that looks. Obviously 12 is bigger than 10, but I think we'll manage. I think it'll be fine. Let's move on to the other garland that I have. So I think, I'm pretty sure that my intention was to use this garland right here, this really drapey, really realistic, lush feeling garland. I think I was going to put this on my mantle. I think that was the game plan. And looking at it, I think this would look fabulous on my mantle. I really like this. All of these greens I think are looking really good with the tree too. This is looking a little yellowy on camera, but in person it definitely looks more lifelike. So that's what that is for. And then this was to kind of mix either with this or with this. I could do both. I don't know if I'm going to like cut off pieces or if I'm just going to keep it as a whole and try to like weave them into the other garlands, but that is what that is for. On this chair behind me, we have the pine garland, and I think it is just so fabulous and so beautiful, but I'm like, how can I incorporate this in a way that works with the other things that I have? Because this one, I guess it's slightly directional, but it's really just kind of spiky, and it just looks so, in my opinion, realistic. And this to me reminds me more of Christmas, because these are the kind of trees that we have in Texas, that sort of like pine branch. It's like, how do I incorporate this? Last year, I will insert a picture right here, temporarily put this on my entryway table with some gold candlesticks and white taper candles in it. It looked so fabulous, so Victorian, and just beautiful. I mean, I just think this looks really cool. I really like this one, but I just don't know how I'm gonna combine all of these and make them into something cohesive. Again, it's like, I feel like I could take branches off of this and like weave them into here. I got some recommendations, or I got some inspiration from a couple of lovely ladies online who kind of like create garlands themselves from pre-made pieces. And so I guess we'll see how this goes and how this looks, but I'm confident we can create something good with what we've got here. If we can't, I mean, we lack creativity, right? The way that I'm going to be combining these, by the way, is with zip ties. You can also use wire, but since I know these are really heavy and I'm going to be sticking them to my banister with zip ties, I'd rather just use the same material kind of all throughout, and they're really easy to just cut. So let us get creating. I think I'm gonna have to call Hayden down here to help me because there's no way I can manage this on my own. Alright, so I have my garlands kind of laid out in front of me. I think what I landed on in terms of how to combine them is that I just kind of like wrapped them within each other. I also think that that helps make up for the difference in lengths, because the base garland again is 10 feet long and the two that I'm attaching are 12 feet. And I don't want there to be like an awkward end to this garland. What I'm going to do is use these zip ties to combine the two garlands together, and then I will zip tie them with the larger zip ties to the banister. This is not a one-person job, obviously. It's never a one-person job, but it especially isn't when we are adding this much weight to this garland. I also decided, in addition to removing all of the berries, which are behind me, from the new garland, I'm also removing the seeded eucalyptus. I just feel like these ended up looking a little bit too cheapy, and they were just kind of like sitting strangely on top. I might end up kind of weaving these throughout after the fact, but they were all just kind of like sitting like this and it didn't look nice. Maybe I will go in later and just kind of like tuck them in. So I kind of follow those to the side, but this is what I'm doing first. This is just the first part of the garland laid out. I need to do the second part as well, remove that eucalyptus and kind of, again, sort of strategically weave them together. But that is sort of the tactic I'm taking. I'm really hoping this looks good once I put it up there. I'm also trying to pay special attention to the orientation. Since the new garland I purchased goes this way, I'm making sure that the other piece that I attach also is going in that orientation. And the branches for my older garland, like I said, they can kind of be splayed out in any way that you want. I had them kind of like this last year. I'm kind of making them go in and that way this year. So I think it looks good. I'm hoping that it looks good once it's hung up, but I'm gonna go ahead and attach those and show you what the final product looks like. So it was a success, clearly. I really like the way that it turned out. I feel like the combination of these branches just looks so, so good. And I ended up pulling out the garland that I normally use on my mantle. I feel like it's picking up really, really green on camera, but it actually looks very similar to the garland up here. These little branches kind of woven throughout look very similar to some of the branches up there. So I feel like it ties in nicely. I had said to myself, or I had considered briefly, potentially grabbing some kind of lighter pieces to mix in here so that these two would match a little bit better, but looking at it, it really doesn't bother me, and it does look pretty good together. So I'm happy with how that turned out. I am probably going to fluff the branches and just do a few more things to make this look nice. And definitely with this is definitely not fluffed out, but it does have that sort of like spill effect, which I like. I still have this garland down here that is so stunning and so popular, but the issue with this one is that it's not long enough to sit nicely on my mantle. And even like combining two, it just does not look nice. I would need a lot more for it to really look nice. And honestly, I just really don't want to spend any more money. This looks perfectly great. And I'll find something else to do with the ones down here. Actually, I'll tell y'all a little bit of a secret. We are doing a little bit of a makeover slash addition to our kitchen in the next few weeks slash month here. And I was thinking on our new kitchen table, something like that garland would look really, really nice. Basically, we are transforming this area back here, a round table and an island that can seat people with bar stools. We are going to close in that area and we are going to put a rectangular table here instead with like kind of a banquette seating situation. And I will be removing these frames up here over this board and batten, and we are doing a wallpaper mural. I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to, again, mesh well with style that I am developing and just with all of the other like Christmas decor. Not that I'm doing it just for Christmas, but it'll be nice to get all of that done. And I'm really happy with the way that like things are turning out, but I don't want to rush the rest of the steps. I want to be like strategic about what I'm doing next. I also have another piece coming in that I think will help make things look really pretty. I normally have a wooden tray right here. It's actually back there. You can see Teddy is sleeping by it. I normally have a wooden tray, which again leans a little farmhouse. I purchased an antique brass one on eBay. It's supposed to come the next day or two, and I'm planning on putting it on my coffee table with like some Christmas decor. I think it's gonna look really pretty. So yeah, things are evolving. I've also purchased like a couple of little odds and ends that should be here over the next few days. I'm definitely taking a piecemeal approach to this. I feel like I never take this long to decorate, but it's been fun. It's fun like doing little projects here and there every day. So I'm going to turn my camera on and show you how I am putting these bows on this tree. I can pop you over here real quick to kind of show you what I landed on, but I am doing brown velvet, which I think is really beautiful. This cream and then the satin ribbon did come in. So that's kind of what we're working with. It's a lot bigger than I thought, which like I probably should have measured, but this is an 1.5 inches. I believe this is 2-inch ribbon. I could find this spool somewhere to actually tell you. I think this is like 3/8 or something of an inch brown velvet ribbon. So I'll link everything that I can in the description, but that's kind of what we're working with. And I think that's like a good combination of things. I also found some picks that I forgot that I had that I think will help add some dimension to the tree. They're kind of this like bronzy color, and I already put them in the tree like right here. So I feel like it looks nice. Anyway, I'm gonna turn on my cameras so you all can watch the rest of the magic happen.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand, you and me. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart.
Happy Thursday, y'all. It is yet another Christmas decorating day. It is so dark and ugly today outside. So I'm really just taking this opportunity to, soak up, I guess, the rainy weather because we need rain desperately in Texas. I'm also taking this opportunity to do some DIYs. I picked up a few things yesterday. I went to get string lights for the stair garland, which I ended up installing yesterday. I just wrapped the lights around the garland. But I also grabbed a couple of things, and they're not exactly perfect. They're things that I think will kind of make my space feel more layered and cute. So I'm just doing a couple of DIYs today while this weather is ugly, and I might do some other Christmas decorating and just get a big studio light out so we can still do some more stuff, because I am determined to get this stuff done by tomorrow. I just want to be done with it, not in a negative sense. I just feel like I've been working on everything forever. So here are some of the things that I'm going to be working on. Number one, I bought this little mini tree. I've been looking everywhere for trees about this size or between this size and 4 feet. I just kind of want my house to feel like a forest. I mean, to be honest, it kind of already is, but I don't know. I just thought this was cute, and I think I will end up probably putting this in my kitchen, but I don't like this sort of galvanized steel or fake galvanized steel butt. So I am going to go ahead and let's not bite my toes. He does not understand what socks are. I'm gonna rub and buff this with some gold rub and buff, some antique gold rub and buff, to get match my decor a little bit more, and just to contrast better with some of the other elements in my kitchen. I feel like there is already black in here, so I think gold would look nice. Sorry for any weird lighting, We have LEDs in our kitchen, and I know the lighting on videos tends to turn weird. I also bought these straps that have bells on them. They're really loud and annoying, but they're so pretty, and they remind me of this video that I watched. I've been watching a lot of like Christmas decorating content online, but one of the people that I watch had like a strap, I guess kind of similar to this, like this leather strap with bells. She had a strap pretty similar, maybe a little thinner, that she hung with her stockings. I thought it looked really cute. She also had one like on her coffee table. Hers were real leather and like handcrafted. These were $4 on sale. They're not exactly perfect, but I was going to make them perfect again by rub and buffing them gold, because the ones she had have a gold loop on the top, and the bells are just more gold. These ones are a little bit gold, but they're mostly like kind of black. So I was gonna go ahead and rub and buff these gold to look a little nicer. I also have this kind of like burgundy leather one, not real leather, faux leather. Anyway, rub and buffing those, so that shouldn't take very long. Honestly, there is nothing like living near construction. There are always trucks going by. The other thing that I was going to work on today, again, apologies for this lighting, y'all. This is abysmal. It is so dark in here. And the other thing that I'm planning on working on is kind of DIYing my garland on my fireplace. So as I was kind of saying, I feel like a couple of days ago, this garland and this garland are not perfect matches, and that's fine. They don't need to be perfect matches. Everything's green. I don't think anyone's like really nitpicking. I've never been entirely happy with this garland. It wasn't cheap, but I feel like it doesn't look as expensive as it was. I think it was like $100, which is like not the most expensive, but it's also not cheap. Anyway, I went ahead and bought some stems that better match the garland up there. I feel like this is looking super yellow on camera. It is a little yellowy, but it's mostly a pale green. And I just feel like by cutting pieces off of this and attaching them to this garland with some floral wire, I think I can make it feel a little bit more lush and real. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have 4 of these, and I'm going to break each of them apart, like taking, let's say like this clump right here and attaching with that floral wire. Wow. Long explanations for stuff that doesn't matter a ton, but I'm gonna go ahead and do all my little DIYs. Hopefully the sun will come out more as the day goes on. I am not convinced it will. I don't know if you can tell. It looks so bright on camera, but it's so dark outside. It looks like nighttime, okay? And I'm not loving it. Also not loving all these trucks passing by. No, they're just trying to do their job, but goddamn, it's loud. All right, I'm gonna get my DIYs done, and after that, I think we can do some decorating. I have a couple of things that just came in, and I also want to get some of the existing Christmas decor I have out of storage, get everything like laid out, and then we can decide like where we're putting things. Part of that is going to involve cleaning up parts of my kitchen. There's a lot to do, and I'm ready to get it done. All right, so as you can see, maybe I have set out all of my Christmas decor, minus one item actually, that I'm seeing out of my periphery, this brown velvet Target tree. As you can maybe tell, I have a bit of a tree problem. I really like trees. That's like my favorite form of Christmas decor, I suppose. And I also have these really sweet gingerbread houses. I would say those are like my two like top 2 things to buy decor wise for Christmas. I feel like I have too many of all of them, but that's fine. It's interesting looking at the stuff behind me. The majority of this, I should say, was purchased in the past like 5 years. I only purchased a couple of key new pieces this year, like this like brown velvet tree, and I'm like looking at the stuff behind me. I'm like, what else have I purchased? I purchased a couple more wooden trees, mostly because, let me see if I can just take you with me on this massive tripod. I have a lot of these trees back here, but the vast majority of them are very glittery. So like all of these glittery ones I've had for many years, and then these like slightly more just like regular carved wood ones I purchased this year because I know I really like the look of them, but I also know that I really want to go for glitter this year necessarily. That being said, I guess I could technically turn some of them around, some of the ones that are glittery, though I would have to remove the stickers on the back of them. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a sticker on this one, but I could turn it around and kind of make it a thing. But I'm to sort of figure out what I'm going to use, because I would say a lot of this stuff I really love and I definitely don't plan on getting rid of. However, a lot of it is not necessarily stuff that I think goes with the rest of my Christmas decor this year. We're going for very creamy colors, lots of browns, and while the kitchen is technically a different space in my house, not really, this is just one giant room, so I would like a little bit of cohesion in the space. So figuring out what of this is going to work, what's not, should be an interesting challenge. And you know, there are little ways too to like upgrade things and or make things feel a little bit more with the rest of the space. For instance, like this tree over here, this white one, is kind of a bright white, but if I tied like a brown velvet ribbon around this, I feel like it would just transform the piece and it could work really well somewhere in my house. So yeah, it should be interesting. There's only a couple of things that I think definitely won't work, like this tree with the white berries. It's already a phlox tree, so I just think that's not really gonna work. And then maybe some of my gnomes, which is really sad. I love my gnomes, but this is like white and gray, and I just don't really think that's gonna look nice with the rest of my stuff. But anyway, I think my game plan is to start doing some of the decorating and just give y'all like a final tour at the end. Mostly because I tend to go back and forth on where I put things, and I feel like it's not that visually interesting to watch. So I think once my house is like officially all finished and pretty, I'll give you a grand tour. Of course, right as I sit down, my cats start going full zoomy mode and trying to climb in the Christmas tree. It wouldn't be Christmas without cats, would it? I wish I could show y'all this. My biggest cat is chasing my smallest cat. Okay, the sun's going in and out. This is probably the worst time to film this clip, but I just wanted to show y'all my final Christmas winter wonderland and show you kind of all of the decorating that I've done, kind of walk you through it and tell you like what I'm happy with or maybe not happy with. So first off, let's start with the tree. I am so pleased with how the tree turned out. I was really unsure of if I would enjoy a tree that didn't have as much ribbon as I'm used to, and while it did take probably double the amount of time that it normally takes me to decorate a tree, I feel like it ultimately turned out pretty well. I just feel like it provides this coziness, this groundedness that this space needs. This room is huge and it's just one big room. This room and my kitchen and dining space, it's just this one big white room with like 12-foot ceilings, maybe taller, I'm not really sure. I feel like the tree, especially with the brown, I think really, again, helped ground the space, make it feel warm. In the past, I've really gone with like taupes, grays, whites, and I think the brown and the cream tones really help to kind of make the space feel a lot more homey. And I kind of carried that through with my other decor as well. So made some long-term purchase decisions that I think also helped make the space feel even cozier. I'll walk you through those as we kind of work our way through the space. But beyond the tree, I feel like I brought that warmth as well into the couch and the kind of like plush furnishings. I added a brown throw blanket and a couple of brown throw pillows to my roundup of Christmas pillows. And I feel like it, again, just like warms up the space, makes it feel very inviting. If you're curious as to why I have two faux fur throws on my couch, it's because I have cats and they try to scratch up the corners of my couch. In addition to getting their poop stains on my couch, they also like to scratch it. So we are constantly maintaining this couch. We are vacuuming it. We are cleaning the slip covers. I feel like we would do that regardless of the color of the couch, so it being white isn't really the problem, but yeah, that is why we have those fur blankets. I also think it helps to make the space feel even cozier. You could just hop on the couch and there's already a blanket there ready to go for you. The next space that I am pretty proud of, it's kind of just a small moment, is my coffee table. I had a big brown wooden tray on my coffee table for a really long time because I just couldn't find another solution, I guess. The top of my coffee table is a faux leather material, and it definitely needs to be primarily covered so that my cats, again, don't destroy it. It already is pretty beat up, though I will say I think it looks better than you would expect for this material. And I like that it's soft because if I have kids, they won't bonk their little heads on it. But I decided to replace that tray with a brass tray, which I thought would, again, kind of bring in those cozy vintage vibes, but would also, again, like work great throughout the year. So I ended up putting a vintage vase with some greenery on this brass tray with the flocked little Christmas tree that I got from Target. But that brown flock tree, I think, also just kind of like rounds out that space well. And I also was kind of looking for inspiration on Pinterest as to what I could put on my coffee table in addition to this tray to round things out and to make things feel a little bit more full. The brass tray just felt like it was kind of floating in space. So I grabbed a couple of coffee table books in coordinating colors to put on my coffee table with the candle on top, and I just think it totally rounds out the kind of vignette. It looks, in my opinion, like pretty designer, which I like because I don't feel like I've ever been satisfied with my coffee table setup, and I just think especially it like works really well for Christmas. On the opposite side of the room, we also have all of the garland and the mini Christmas trees. I sort of last minute decided that I wanted to add a couple of mini trees into my rotation. I love mini trees, they're my favorite, especially like ones that are around kind of the 4-foot height. So I used those to flank the fireplace. I also told y'all that I was going to add in greenery to my kind of trailing garland on my fireplace mantle, and I feel like it ended up looking really good. I also used the wooden trees that I had from last year. I think I added like 1 or 2 into the rotation this year, and I turned the really glittery one around so you don't actually see that, you just see the raw wood. And again, I think it like really goes with the vibe of the rest of the room, and I just think that side of the room looks super cute. I also decided to put my stockings on the mantle this year. Typically I tie them to the banister, but I decided to go classic and do it on the mantle. I tied my kind of cool toned stockings with some brown ribbon just to kind of keep with the theme. I wasn't gonna get new stockings. I feel like these ones are personalized, they're cute, there's no reason to do that, so I just added some brown ribbon to it. And then the real piece de resistance on that side of the room, I think, is the garland. I'm so happy with how the garland turned out. out. Y'all saw how I kind of wove 2 different garlands together. I added lights, and then I added the bows. The bows took forever. I ended up tying the brown plaid ribbon, and then I individually cut pieces of the brown velvet ribbon to go on top. Initially tried to like tie them together at the same time into a bow, and it just didn't look right. So yeah, I feel like it looks good. It took forever though. I used hot glue on those, and it took a long time, but I feel like it's well worth the reward, and I'm going to kind of preserve those just how they are once the season's over. Just kind of leave them how they are, and hopefully I can use them next year. So that is that side of the room. Next we kind of get into the kitchen and dining space. To the left, we have this bookshelf that we installed. This is what I meant kind of by adding these pieces that you can put seasonal decor on, but that aren't necessarily seasonal, like the brass tray on my coffee table. This bookshelf I think is super cute because you can add decor pieces to it. So strangely, my cats have not really tried to hop up on these shelves. I think we hung them high enough to where it's kind of hard for them to reach, and so we're able to put more fragile items on these shelves and kind of display them. I really like the stuff we added there. A couple of these pieces are from Target, the brown blown glass tree and the flocked angel. So yeah, I just think that turned out really well. I also grabbed some books from upstairs that are brown. I didn't buy anything new, really go on the shelves, and I'll probably put you know, kind of color coordinating books as the year kind of goes on and as I change my decor in this space. But very happy with those shelves, and I feel like they go really well with the rest of the space, especially with like that black iron detail. And then moving into the last space, again, the kitchen, I kept it pretty simple and I tried to use a lot of what I already had. I ended up putting the little gingerbread houses right above our sink, and I just think it looks really nice. You don't even have to turn the gingerbread houses on to really get that illumination from within, because the light from outside kind of shines through the gingerbread houses. I think it looks really nice. I did actually put one of the glittery trees in between all the gingerbread houses, and I think it looks really, really cute. And then above the window, I've been doing this seasonally for the past year or so, replacing wreath above the window just to kind of, again, bring in a little bit of seasonal flair into that space. So I added this wreath, which again is from Target. I had these bells from last season that I hadn't used, and I kind of cut them up. I think there were originally 5 bells, and I put 3 bells attached to this wreath because I've always really liked that look and never gotten to do it. And then I added, again, one of those hand done bows by me. That was the first one that I did, and I kept that one a little bit longer than the ones that I put on my garland. But I love the way that that looks. I just think it looks really homey and cozy. I also have a couple of other touches kind of around the kitchen. A Merry Christmas sign, that tree that I rub and buffed the little base of, and then on top of my refrigerator I ended up putting a couple of my gnomes. I thought about putting them away since they don't totally match, but since you don't really see them when you walk into the space, I felt like it was just a fun little touch to keep in the corner. And yeah, that is my space for this year. Obviously I have added Christmas into other elements of my home. I have a skinny tree in my bedroom. I have a couple of like little decor pieces on my dresser, and then upstairs obviously my office is decorated for Chanmas. I specifically decorate my office so that I can film in front of that tree, but downstairs is really for my own personal enjoyment and just getting to a really cozy space that I really love. So I think that's pretty much it for me. I hope y'all have enjoyed this decorating video. I love sharing my space every year. I'll try to leave links to what I can in the description down below, but a lot of the stuff, again, I have purchased in previous years, so not all of it is available, but I'll be sure to link especially like the velvet ribbon if you're interested in that, because I just think it's a really easy way to transform your tree, and it was very inexpensive. So thanks so much for watching this. I love y'all so much, and I will see you tomorrow.